embraced and we are enjoying it today. And a lot of youth know what is happening. A lot of youth know how politics is being run. I can tell you for free, those youths that are shouting, whoever, I'm obedient. Let me use the word. You're saying I'm obedient. Can you deliver your polling unit? A lot of them just have this mentality that if you are supporting APC or PDP, they just get you this Ghana must go and just say, take money and go and live your life. I can tell you for free. When I was in APC or PDP, I was developing myself and I sponsored myself. So now in PDP, I'm still sponsoring myself. As I'm talking to you, the moment I leave here, we have a campaign office organized by the youth here in Abuja. We have a program going on there as we speak.
So money is not flowing like people think.
Money is not flowing.
What happened? This is an election period.
No, see, when you are outside, you always have this mentality of this is how it's been run. But when you are inside, it's a different ball game. We are trying to improve ourselves when it comes to politics. We are trying to build our structure when it comes to politics. We don't play to gallery on social media.
So you say that the obedience, the way you described it,
they are moving with vibe. They are not moving with the political structure.
The reality on the
yes,
ground.
They are not realists.
So let's get it right.
Everybody is angry in Nigeria.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I can use the word, the suffering in Nigeria in a general market. The way it touched the rich, that's so it touched the poor. The way it touched the rich, that's so it touched the poor. Everybody is angry. But how can you get it right? If I'm working with this person, how can my voice be heard when it becomes the leader of the country? Not just winning an election. How can we get this done?
So you think Atiku other than Peter Obi or Tinubu would get it done?
Nobody wants to fail. I'm not saying if Peter Obi becomes the president, he will fail. My dream is to make sure anybody that becomes the president get the job done. And the most competent hand as we speak is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. He's the only person that can get the job done. There's a covenant. I think he's the only one that have a covenant with his signature on it. This is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to get it done. It's there for your consumption to use.
Okay. So, because I wanted you to clarify something, you said the obedience are moving with the vibe.
Yes.
But they are not on the ground.
Yes.
In reality, you think the vibe will not amount to votes?
Most of these youth that we're talking about, we have about 33 million users on social media. Majority of them are no longer in this country. Some of them that went to engage in having their PVC, they didn't collect it. A lot of them, they've not collected their PVC. And some of them that have collected their PVC, they might go home on Friday, rest a little bit, go out clubbing, and before they wake up on Saturday, election is over. But I can tell you that 40% of the people voting are illiterate. They don't know what social media is all about. And this is one of the things my principal is coming to solve: education.
All right. Let me get some views on Twitter Spaces. I know that we have Mr. Activist Emmanuel at Emmanuel Owa 2. I don't know if he can quickly give us his intervention. Mr. Active, can you quickly get your intervention? I like the speakers in the building to respond, if you can quickly. I don't know if you guys can hear him. All right, just hold on for a moment. I'll allow my colleagues to fix that so that we can be able to hear you. But let me bring Mr. Macaroni back just quickly so that we can get to hear those who are on Twitter Spaces. Mr. Macaroni, you heard what Mr. Jollof said, and part of what Cynthia also said about the young people and the fear. The fear is mostly when this election ends, we still have a nation. Election we go. Election comes and it will go. On one hand, yes, that's what he said. On the other hand, is the fact that those who are supporting the obedience, those who are supporting Peter Obi, they are more of following the vibe rather than being realistic. How much of the grassroots culture are they building? Do they have the roots? Those people that they can call to say these are the people that can deliver those their polling units for them.
First, to my dear brother, Mr. Jollof, he said money isn't flowing like that in the parties. I don't know, maybe money is not flowing within the party for some of them, but not only your own party. Make I don't even see. Throughout this discussion, I'm trying very hard not to mention names, not to name call political parties and what have you. But we know the kind calls where we receive, and we know the kind offers where we get, where we say no to, because we strongly believe that election is about deciding the future of the country. Hear me. Things don't bad. It don't bad, go. So if at all we are going to salvage whatever is left of the nation, we must put aside our own selfish interests, our own greed, and look at what is before us and say, okay, it be like, say, now this person go fit do the work. Mr. Jollof has said this is his own candidate, which is very fine. And he strongly believes that it is that his candidate that can do the work. What I think is not too nice is trying to bank on the fact that some people have jackpot, or that some people will collect PVC, they will sleep, they will go to club and sleep, and they will not be able to vote. That won't cut it. That won't cut it for people who want to vote. And we need to get it right, because we must stop this idea that only a select people will go out to vote. That, maybe now only illiterates go, now only them one vote. I said something last week. I said, now everybody in our grassroots, because as things there now, I don't get cash. Even not only physical cash, money for account self, not there. But people go say, Macaroni is a celebrity now, money talk everywhere. Everybody, they fill up. So we must get to the point where we will begin to say, look, this thing is for the growth of the country, not just because we believe, say, now our party must do it. We must move beyond that. Now, I want to quickly ask Mr. Tolu one question. I was calling your attention, and I just wanted Mr. Tolu to help me answer one or two questions. Because he mentioned that his party, when they were talking about security and some things that his party has done, and of course we cannot take away the fact that he is an active member of the government. We cannot take that away in this conversation. And if we are having discussions like this, these are things we must touch. In a letter that Tolu wrote to GEJ, that's former President Goodluck Jonathan. Tolu said, my point is, I doubt that Nigerians and their news media are singling you out for ill treatment. That's to GEJ. It's not about you being a certain president or a Christian or an German. It's far more likely to be about the action and inaction of your government. Those are Tolu's words. That the result of what the media is reporting about former President Goodluck Jonathan when he was president are as a result of his actions and inactions as president of the country. He further went ahead to say, Mr. President, step out of the trenches. Your battle is not against the media or ordinary Nigerians who want to express their frustrations and disappointments. I suspect that your battle is instead with many of those characters who surround you, claiming to be friends and loyalists, but who imprison you within a dangerous bubble and delight in misleading you for their own selfish ends. Could we say, with Tolu's defense, just with the little he has said on this, in this our meeting, could we say that in this defense, Tolu is one of those that is imprisoning this current administration in that bubble? Because we now look like the bad ones. We that are saying, fuel no day, money no day, insecurity, that one. We that are speaking up, we now feel, it now looks like we are the noisemakers, which Tolu himself referred himself to be at that time, that don't see me as if I do not like you or I hate you. I am just speaking out my mind. Now, finally, wait, one second.
You have called, you have...
One second, let me just finish. Now, Tolu also rightly said that there are 3 leading presidential candidates. I think that's the popular belief. There might be some that are more popular, we do not know. But to him, the APC candidates, the PDP candidates, and the Labour Party candidates are the leading presidential candidates. And we have all said it is right to vote for whoever it is that we want to vote for. And he has said that in his own opinion, he believes that his own candidate will do the job excellently well. In some years back, I want to read this from my brother, Tolu. He said, I'm busy writing a new constitution for Nigeria. Henceforth, all Sikh presidents must stay home and receive native treatment, no more abroad. I just want to ask one question. All of those 3, in those 3 presidential candidates that Tolu believes that there are 3 leading presidential candidates, does it believe that all 3, if any of them becomes president, is medically, physically, mentally, psychologically fit to be president of Nigeria?
Okay. So, I mean, you know, I for me, it's not ideal that this has become a conversation about Tolu. I mean, I'm happy to have a one-on-one with you. You know, I think it's most unfair, I guess, even to Sheung. You know, we have gathered here to talk about youth participation in politics, you know. I think it's most unfair and opportunistic, you know, to attempt to make this particular conversation about me when we could have done this. And I guess this is one of the problems that, you know, I tend to have with people of my generation where, you know, it's just this cheap opportunism, you know, which I think is what Macaroni has just done here, where we have a conversation. No. You have spoken. No. Debo, you've spoken now. Sheung gathered us to talk about youth participation in politics, but you have now decided to make this, you know, this is you have completely diverted this into something else. Unfortunately,
these are your words. These are your words. And if we are talking about nation building,
you have spoken. Debo, you have spoken. But I think that, you know, it is this kind of cheap opportunism, you know, and I guess you've done this now and you think that you've been an activist, you know, but unfortunately, I'm not even sure that we have enough time to go into this. What I will just quickly say is that I stand by every single thing that I have ever said. Secondly, I want you to show me anywhere, and you know, you're a giveaway master. Maybe I should even do giveaway now, and I will do giveaway. if you can show me anywhere where I have suggested that Nigeria does not face challenging issues, where I have attempted. Wait.
I'm talking about what you just said now. It's not. We don't need to go far. Your words now. Your words now.
What words? I want you to. What words? Say it. What words? What words? What words? Where did I downplay the?
You said that it is easy. You said just here. You said that it is easy for us to talk about that the government has not been doing this or the government has not been doing that.
Yes.
And that we are not talking about the active steps that the government has been taking to ensure that things are better. You mentioned one startup, something.
And wait, how is that?
What I am telling you is that in your words, those things that you are accusing us of not saying are things we are not saying because the actions and inactions of your government, in your own words, have recounted those things.
I think, I hate that this has become a back and forth between you and I. But how does pointing out what a government has achieved, how does pointing out what a government has achieved become saying that there's nothing wrong with Nigeria? How shallow? Listen, no, Debo, how shallow does anybody have to be? Listen, Debo, wait. You have spoken.
Government now.
You have spoken. Debo, you have spoken. Let me. You have called my name. You have.
All right, there seems to be some glitches with the network there. Okay. But okay, so there is an exchange between Tolu and Debo. Cynthia, and maybe I can now bring in some people on Twitter Spaces. I can see, I have Adenike Awe1. If you can quickly come in, can we take Adenike Awe1 on Twitter Spaces? Your intervention.
You are the one who has called my name and made this a conversation. No, Shehu. He has made this a conversation about me. Okay. Unfortunately, and my apologies to you that it has even gone this way.
No. We actually lost you at some point. That was why. But go ahead, Tolu. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. So I mean, I have to apologize to you, Shehu, that this has had to go this way. I'm more than happy to have another conversation with Debo, where it's me and him one-on-one. I'm not hijacking your own platform. But, I think the point I'm trying to make is that, look, my job, I'm special assistant to the president on digital and new media. My job is to highlight what the government is doing. If anybody now decides, because they don't understand, or because they're not paying attention, or because they are so eager to attack me, if anybody now decides that, listen to me, you have to calm down.
No, yeah, but I want to point out the words you are using. It's not an attack. We were having a conversation.
No, you just calm down. If you decide that you don't like the fact that Tolu is highlighting what the government he works for has achieved, that's not my business. That's not my problem. That's your problem. Listen now. Debo, I allowed you
that the government has brought.
Debo, I allowed you to talk. Now, okay. I work as you might call me a spokesperson for the government. It is my job to amplify and to highlight what I think the government is doing, whether it's in infrastructure, whether it's in social investment, whether it's legislative proposals. That is my work. Now, I believe I've done that to the best of my ability. Yeah. Now, but it's another thing now for you to now accuse me of saying that I'm saying that there are no issues with Nigeria. Do you follow me at all? Do you pay attention to the things that I say? So when you falsely accuse me of downplaying, you have accused me. I at no point, at best, I would decide to be silent about a bunch of things, because of my public position, but for you to accuse me of, I've never anywhere said that.
I know you say that I should not talk, but I'm not talking about any other thing other than what you yourself have said here.
Debo,
simply made reference to the conversation that we are having here.
Debo, what did I say here? I highlighted. Listen to me now. You are just acting like this is like you are. This is
no. Now you are the one. You are the one saying I'm opportunistic. I'm attacking. So I'm trying to clarify these things to you. It's not a fight. I'm not fighting you. I'm simply letting you understand the things that you said, and I'm bringing them to life.
I think you should listen. Look. You don't. Your argument. You don't make a better point by shouting or by not allowing me to talk. You don't.
I'm listening to you. I just also have to clarify the type of things that you are saying, so that we don't run off with the wrong impression.
I have not done anything here other than cite some of the things that I consider to be the achievements of the government that I work for. Now, if you disagree with those achievements, that is fine. If you are not happy that I cited them, that is fine. But I have not done anything other than mention that these are the things, these are some of the. So, why are you vexing that?
Are you saying I cannot react to those things that you have said? Is that what you are saying? You also have responded to some point. You responded to a point I made. You responded to a point I made.
Yeah.
So can't you respond to our point?
Guys, just a moment. Tolu, and
when I talk about the Startup Act, for example, why is he annoyed? Is it a lie? Is it a lie?
Just remember.
When I talk about infrastructure, when I talk about the situation,
I want us to do something quickly. Tolu, just a moment. Just a moment. Tolu, hold on 1 minute.
This is a personal attack on me.
Just hold on 1 minute. Can you hold on for 1 minute? Hold on for 1 minute. I want us to take it one after the other, so that just hold on. I want us to be able to take it one after the other. Tolu, let me allow you to respond to what Debo asked you. Then I'll probably...
You never respond, sis.
So that we can take it one after the other. So that we can have the headway. Tolu, please, you have the floor now.
Why? When I talk about Startup Act, or when I talk about the situation in the Northeast in 2015 and today, are they lies? If they are lies, then say they are. Do you understand? If they are lies, say they are. But don't invent, don't invent stuff and say that I'm saying what I'm not saying. When I point out what an achievement is, that this is what has been done. Why do you have issues with what has been done? The Peter Obi that you are supporting, is he not going to come and do stuff as well? When he does those stuff, are you not going to say that he did this stuff? The people that are supporting Peter Obi, are they not telling us that he did this and this and this in Anambra? So how is it a problem when I come in a job that I do, a job that I've done for 7 years, to highlight the things that I think my government has done? How is that a problem for you? And how is that something to be twisted into me downplaying whatever the challenges that Nigerians are facing? Do you think that I do not feel, do you think that, look, in case you do not know, I've worked for the president for 7 years. I do not have an official house. I do not have an official car. I do not have an official driver. I do everything that you do as a citizen. I deal with everything you have to deal with as a citizen. So when you just talk, I know you may be angry, and I know that for you, maybe the way to bring out your anger is to lash out in this way. But tell me how I have done anything out of place by highlighting the achievements of the government I've worked for.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tolu.
All right, Tolu, have you landed? Yeah, Tolu, have you landed?
Well, I have, but again, it's a bit of a shame that look, we had a conversation about youth participation in politics and all that. We had bigger issues to discuss. If Debo wants to take me, Debo, let's fix a time. Let's do a one-on-one conversation.
Pressing issues, my brother.
Debo, no, it's not about that. Sheung has
we are in election.
There's Cynthia.
You
are other people on this.
There
are other people on this conversation.
I understand what you mean. So the reason why I sort of the reason why I sort of allowed both of you to be able to banter is because the essence of this podcast is to allow Nigerians to be able to have a free mind to speak. In any sense, we may not be able to have this kind of opportunity on a traditional television or radio, but we are having this kind of opportunity. We're speaking as a people from the same country, like brothers and sisters. Let's have a conversation that can move the country forward. And we cannot do those conversations sometimes without having to bicker. We will disagree.
No,
agree. So that's why the independence of mind, when people are independent minded, which is the type of this podcast, you will bicker, you will disagree. So, and that's why I wanted you to land so that the question that Debo may not even have your number, but he's meeting you on this platform, and he thought that, let me ask you this question. But
we used to follow each other on Twitter, but I think he unfollowed me a while back.
Okay.
You know,
it's interesting that this is coming
out. I unfollowed you now. When you were, when I was beaten up, I was dehumanized, and you were supporting the scenario and the circumstances.
I could
not afford to continue to follow you and be seeing things like that.
Debo, listen. On this particular one you said, this is another false allegation, and I just feel it's unfair. I supported the people that beat you up. You know, maybe
that's not the circumstance. I didn't say the people. Now you know, come down to again waiting at the talk.
Yeah, waiting you talk.
I say the circumstances which surround that incident, which was going to the toll gate, not even NSAS, not NSAS main. It wasn't NSAS main. I'm talking about the incident that led to.
I did not make a single comment. I did not make. Look, Debo. Look, I don't think people I don't think you. Look, you may have mistaken me for somebody, Debo. And for me, I did not, Debo.
Yeah,
I did not. I did not make any comment. I know the things that you cannot accuse me, and it's painful that. So now that I even have insight into, this is why this happened. It's painful for me to hear now that you thought that I was in support of. I pick the things I comment on social media. There's a lot of stuff I don't bother, I don't comment on because I know that, any things can be misinterpreted. So, and I'm putting it to you that is a false allegation. You started this show by talking about somebody that made false accusations against you and how you go to court. This is exactly how I feel about the things that you're saying.
Let me, guys, just a moment. Just a moment.
Worry, I will send.
Yeah.
So I will send. Sean, can I carry on?
Okay, just for a moment. Carry on. You for another minute, Debo. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I will maybe. For the sake of this, because we are not talking about how I was brutalized or this thing. I only mentioned that because I followed him, which was me. Now waiting.
And it's a false allegation.
Yes, but we'll talk about that one. No, we'll put them for one side. But going back to the issue, this conversation I was trying to have, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Tolu, like I said,
yes,
we cannot take away the fact that you are spokesperson for the president. I totally understand your position. If we see outside tomorrow, we will talk and shake hands. It's the same thing. I've seen a lot of people in your space and we talk. But we cannot just now, you are the spokesperson for the president, and you also mentioned that you are an active supporter of the APC, an active member.
Yes.
You have given us, you have given your party full confidence. What made me say and ask those questions that I asked is, if you are saying you have full confidence in your party to carry on with responsibilities of governance, in 2015, those years, I don't see the exact dates, but when you wrote that letter, you understand, what you thought was something different. You were speaking as a concerned Nigerian. And you were saying that this was from your own perspective, and that you strongly believe and you strongly feel that Nigerians are not against the president or against maybe his party or what have you. They are just letting the president understand that this is how we feel. This is what we are going through. So it's what I also made reference to. That look, while it is okay to praise the just talk about the achievements of the government and everything. When you now say something like, people talking about fuel, because I'm trying to get your exact words, but
did I say anything about fuel? I didn't.
No, wait now, Tolu. That's why I'm just saying that you were making reference to something, either fuel or insecurity or something. When I learned, now you remember what I was talking about. And then when you said that, you now said we should point you out to any other place in the world where similar things were not happening.
Food prices. Yes.
That's what exactly. I just knew that
specifically. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it was even then I wanted to respond to it, but Sheon had, I think, he had gone to another person, so I didn't want to. So what I was simply saying is that if you are making reference to the fact that because it is happening any other place in the world, those are not what you thought about then when you were not in power, when you were not in government, because as it is, you were not elected, but you are still in government, you are still in the circle. But that was not your thought. That was not your thought process when you were not there. So it's what I was simply making. That was just what I was making reference to, taking you back to your own words, the letter that you wrote, that you should not. Now it seems like, this is the excuse. It's happening every other place in the world. Is this? Is that? But what I'm letting you know is that no. Let me just start. I'm almost done. What I'm just making reference to is the fact that Nigerians will not, the way you see it, especially being there now, you refer to a bubble, like the way you see it now is going to be very different from the way we outside too will be seeing it. Who knows tomorrow? I'm done. Like I said, I'm done. Who knows tomorrow? I don't have any plans, but tomorrow I find myself in government, or Sheon or Jollof, anyone there, we find ourselves in government. What we will be saying, the way I follow you talk now, say, Tolu, see what's in Sopo, see as in a government they do. It will come different. If it come different too, means they say, but this was other people who are suffering or something like that. That was just what I tried to make reference to. That look, when Nigerians talk, when we express our mind, it is because it is what we see, not because.
But I've never disagreed. Debo, I've never disagreed with. At no point. Guys, just pay attention. Yeah. At no point did I ever attempt to downplay anything that anybody said about. At no point.
Let's bring home the issue.
At no
quickly.
point. So again, I think it's about the nuances. Look, anybody who works in government in the age of social media is in a bit of a difficult place, because you have many opinions that you also will not necessarily be able to express the way you would if you were out of government. Yeah. So that is a foundational context. But I think that you have misunderstood. I want to think, I don't want to believe it's deliberately, but I think you have misunderstood a lot of the context or the nuance around what I've been trying to say. And I think that is what has played out in your accusation that I was in support of I can't even believe that, so again, I think we need to talk honestly, but it's I feel the same way now. The way you felt when you accused somebody of defaming you at the beginning of this conversation.
So let's quickly let's try to bring home the point. I'm trying as much as possible to get a few, at least even if it's 3 or 4 people, to quickly respond on Twitter Spaces. And I think that someone like Akorede is on. If I can hear him, I want to get your intervention, Akorede, a quick one. Let's get a few people on Twitter Spaces and let the guest speakers in the studio respond to some of the issues they raised. Is Akorede there? All right. Okay, I'm saying Dr. Ademola Bayonle. Okay, I'm saying a few people. Mr. Active Law, please go ahead if you'd like to speak. All right, Dr. Bayonle, Mr. Active Speaker, you can go ahead. You have the floor. Go ahead. I'm not sure that I can see your hand, and please go ahead. You are now enabled to speak. Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you. Go ahead.
My point here is that this is democracy, and
This is Akorede.
This is Akorede.
Can we give him some volume?
Yeah,
go ahead, please.
Yes, I appreciate everyone here. So, but my point here is that this is democracy. So, and every one of us, we know what it is to be in a democratic regime. Yeah. But the fact here is that about this election, I have my facts. and as a result of my own research, I believe our political manifestos and record about obedience, about Atiku, about Tinubu, all their records are not enough to determine Nigeria best president. So we can look at history from the day Nigeria gained independence, maybe in the like of Tafawa Balewa, who was the prime minister. He had good record. He was once minister for work, minister for transportation before independence. He was man of the people, and he was voted for because of his record. And after his during his time, that was the first time Nigeria experienced a military coup, and there were a lot of crises during this time. That is number one. A man who then they wanted him because of his good record. Now let's go to Shehu Shagari in 1979. Shehu Shagari too was a former commissioner for economic development appointed by General Yakubu Gowon. He had good record despite his economical experience, his good personality, his good record. His tenure failed woefully. Now let's go to Chief Olusegun
Thank you very
Obasanjo.
much.
Look at his time. People wanted him. You know, he did the local government reform.
Thank you very much,
Everybody campaigned for him because of his Operation Feed the Nation,
Thank
the
you very much,
universal primary education. What he did during
Achimoke,
his military regime.
thank you very much for giving me the power
But
to
during this
speak.
time, Nigeria suffered a lot. There was no food, no free education, no electricity.
Hello?
Now let's come down to this administration of
Hello?
Muhammad Buhari. Hello.
Hello, thank you for giving me the space to speak. Thank you very much, sir. Achimoke, thank you for the privilege to speak.
Somebody is talking, Mr. Kende.
It seems Akorede was speaking earlier. It seems Kinde, for some reasons, Kinde has go ahead, Kinde.
Okay, thank you, sir, Mr. Shimoke. For the fact that I'm a political analyst on Last Radio, even though I've not gained that so much from it, I do a political program called Political Roundtable with some of my comrades and honorables in school here in Lagos State University. And there's a program I talked about on space that was we structure determine the 2023 presidential poll. And most of the people that I brought on air spoke about how structure from the roots, from the grassroots to the ward, to the district, everything to the councillorship, how everything will affect the Labour Party in being in being the margins to the win of the presidential poll. Because when you look at the structure of APC and PDP, people say Labour Party have structure because of the youth. Now, let me now divert to the question. Youths are ready, but will they come out to vote? Now, I'm a youth. I have my voter's card. I'm going to vote. But the question is it all about the jamboring on Twitter space or on Twitter? We know they give people that vote. I watched the Ekiti election and the Osun election. We have the 90 years old women and the fathers. We have the 70-year-olds. Youth are easily compromised and easily manipulative. They compromise their mind when they see talking. Aside from the fact because I'm a political, because I speak against vote buying. I can't involve in vote buying. But how do we that this thing is just for a limited time? You understand? How do we influence them? How do we change their mindset? That is the question we should be. That is what we should be doing on radio, on TV.
All right.
How many youth watch TV? I'm not listening to radio station.
And that's the reason why we're doing this, so that yeah. So let me get another person. Is Dr. Bayole? Is he able to speak now? Thank you, Kinde. Let me get Dr. Bayole.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity. Well, I think we just like to blackmail them by asking them this rhetorical question every time. Are you ready for elections? Every year we come out. We know that we are the majority. We know we have the numbers, but I think that's really what we think we're good for. You were in Osun State. We met in Osun State. You saw what we did in Osun State. I was the youngest on the ballot, and we could actually mount whatever force we mounted. And of course, the youth came out to vote for different parties, which they have the right to do. Youth are participating in a lot of structures. Go to Oyo State. The House of the Speaker of the House of Assembly is 32 or 34 or something. They have a 26-year-old in the House. So youths are definitely participating. But let me make this point. Mr. Macaroni is in the studio today. I reached out to him last year, and he said, "Oh, his brand is not interested in campaign." Definitely, I have no issues with him. I love him with all my heart. He was fine. He could say that. But all of a sudden now, yes, he's going for a presidential candidate that he feels that, okay, can change the country. And I'm like, okay, well, I think your brand is now ready to campaign. Look at the other guest in your studio that said that, okay, he was in AAC before. He ran for House of Assembly. But because of the realities on ground, we don't support him in PDP. So the point is this. There's another lady in that your studio that said that the youth, of course, we can identify the issues. What are we actually good for? Are we just good for identifying the issues and also supporting these old classes? Unfortunately, the Labour Party candidate today said that, in fact, he was comparing ages. That means there's something about young people. He is saying that he's the youngest of the front runners. That means that we should, because of his age, also consider him. So, I mean, I think we just have a pattern to our madness, and I think we should just stop blackmailing each other by saying that we are either ready or not ready. We just want to do what we want to do, and that is fair. Our 33 million is going to go in different places in this election. We have a 51-year-old with amazing campaign, so we're on that ballot. We have what's it called? Adebayo, who is a lawyer and has done well in his career. We have a 39-year-old professor on that ballot. We are not supporting them. But I wish 2020, of course, maybe 2026 will come. We'll do the same thing. Who knows? But I don't think we should keep blackmailing youth. We are ready until we are ready for ourselves. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you so much, Dr. Banyale.
He belongs to. He said he reached out to me for campaign.
Dr. Banyale was a governorship candidate of the YPP, I think.
Out to you, and I can read your message clearly. You said, "Good morning,
Yes.
sir. Thank you for your service and interest in Mr. Macaroni service." Yeah. But I don't have issues with that. But what I'm saying now is that we are ready. Are we ready for each other?
I just wanted to know your party to corroborate that.
That's not.
And I stand.
That's not important. Go ahead, please.
Your party, for me to know your party, that you said come and campaign for.
I'm Young Progressive Party. I'm young. No, I'm just saying that the point I'm making is that we are ready. We are on the ballot. We want to take positions, but are we actually ready for each other? Are you supporting any gubernatorial candidate? Are you supporting any senatorial candidate? Any House of Representatives on your ballot? Because even your own candidate is telling you that age is important. Your own candidate just went on the stage and said that he's young. He's a young person, and I totally agree. The young people bring the freshness of ideas, and they can do better than these old people. It's not the capacity, competence, and character that all these old people also possess.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Dr. Banyale, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sorry, since I was mentioned, can I just quickly react?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. So he mentioned that I said I'm not going to campaign for any political party or any political candidate, and I stand by that. Debo Adedayo does not and will not campaign for any presidential candidate, any party. I can say who I will vote for. I have a right to do that. And check on my tweets, check on my interviews. That is what I have been saying. I said, as for me, Mr. Macaroni, Debo, this is who I will vote for, because given my own definition of leadership, this is the person that fits. End of story. There is no, out of the major political parties, I have been called. I have just declined. So it's not a function of maybe your own party.
So did your brand approve you to support Labour Party at this point?
Say again?
Did your brand approve you to support Labour Party at this point? Because
I'm not supporting Labour Party, Jollof. I don't.
Do you know why? Do you know why I'm saying this? Do you know why I'm saying this? Do you know why I'm saying this? Because after my conversation, you said you were receiving calls, that you were receiving calls from different political parties. Yes, you might be receiving calls. That does not, in quote, makes other influencers receive calls. Other influencers, some influencers are passionate about politics, like myself. I'm a graduate of political science and public administration. So by right, I'm supposed to practice what I studied. So if you are receiving calls for being paid, fine, it's good.
Yeah.
Then you stated the fact that someone supporting a candidate, and in quote, where I understand your analysis, supporting a candidate from PDP or APC makes that person selfish, which is not true. Where I'm coming, and also when people like us criticize the government, we are social media critics. I criticize the government, and as a social media critic, I can boast of my achievement being a critic. If I criticize something, I want results. And at a point, why I started criticizing political office holders, because I didn't have contacts to anybody. I believe every government official watches social media. It now gets to a point where I now know those in authority, those in decision-making position, that I can just pick up my phone and call. So why should I go on social media and start criticizing them, discrediting what they are doing? I can call you as my friend, or I can call you as a public office holder because I want you to succeed. And I can correct you, and I can tell you what is this and what is that. If I stop doing what I used to do on social media, that doesn't make me selfish. If you are still pointing, I'm coming. And if you are still pointing at on some issues and you say, this is how I want to do it, I believe it gets to a point you need to be constructive. And if we are doing blame games and someone being supporting this candidate and you stigmatize this person because of what he has done, I believe you, Mr. Macaroni, you've done that. You followed me on Instagram. I have no problem with you, but because I was supporting who I was supporting, and you did that. You did that. Yes, you did that. You did that one. I'm coming. And I met you in Donja. I'm coming. I met you in Donja.
Sorry, for some reason. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Shehu.
I don't want us to
false
make it.
accusations.
I'm just being honest here. I met you at some event. And you were so cold at me. And it's wrong.
And this is not politics. This is not what we should be doing.
And this is why we need more women in government. I'm going to come with this answer. That is why we need more women in government.
Now, that was what you did, Macaroni. You are still my brother. I love you every day.
Sorry,
I love you every day.
No, but Mr. Macaroni, you've been talking a lot.
I saw you in Doja's event,
please,
and you were so cold at me. That was very wrong of you, my brother.
Guys,
don't let us make it.
Honestly,
I was the one that walked up to you.
This is a personal issue.
Don't let us make it a personal issue.
We've made this personal issue. Guys, the next election. No. Sorry, I'm sorry. Let me quickly say this, now, Macaroni. Let me quickly say thank you. We've been having conversation around the next elections, and this election is very important to every one of us. And I appreciate the passion at which we're engaging this issue. But let us remember that this is not about friend or foe. It is about the country, our nation that we all care about. And for a period of time, it seemed like we've had more of back and forth. First is Tolu and Macaroni. Now Mr. Jollof has come up. Even people that are calling and saying we're not supporting youth. I think let us make everything clear. Election is about contest and competition. It includes competition of ideas. So we would always not agree. But the beauty of it is that we debate around issues without hurting each other's feelings. We debate objectively and constructively, and we arrive at a conclusion. Whoever wins the argument, let the superior argument, but let us also not use our opportunities, or not just emotions, our opportunities to speak to shut up the other people. Now, the conversation around the youth part, I think it's important we understand that today we're talking about how will young people vote? Can you determine the elections? And one of the speakers said, why do we keep blackmail? It's not about a blackmail. It's a conversation that is held in every election. In Kenya election last year, people were talking around, can the youth determine the outcome of the elections? And I do believe that Nigeria has a huge youth population, and our youth population should have the power to determine the outcome of this election. Now, who wins? We don't know who would win. It's not about that. It was about, can young people even agree that it's important we vote first? We agree that we need to vote. We agree we need to turn out and vote. And then we vote. And at the end of the day, it does not end there. This election does not end at the day we vote. It continues because democracy is beyond voting. Democracy is about
Absolutely.
active engagement. It's about questions and answers. It's about demands and demand for accountability. It does not mean that we need to part people. In fact, once you're in government, once you occupy office, you've exposed yourself for criticism. What matters in democracy is that when we question, you provide an answer. If we don't like your answer, we wait 4 years and choose someone that will give us the answer that we want. Now, that is democracy. It does not mean that we need to shut down voices. I say dissent is a right in a democracy. And for this conversation this evening, I think as younger, because I'm very, very soon I'll be 35. So I don't even call myself youth. I feel like I'm old at this point. But as younger people, we need to act differently from the older generation. Where did they fail? How can we change the pattern and do better as a generation that would either fulfill or betray its mission? That for me is what is important. Right. Can we be different from the older population? And I believe that at this point, there's a lot of testosterone. That's why I said I need to come back, because you men, when I just say shout, they go, and we have to go beyond this.
That's a valid.
Thank you. But now,
so guys, let us wrap up.
Yes.
You see,
okay.
Look, let me just hold on, Tolu.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we have other platforms that allows us to be able to ventilate. Sometimes I remember one of our teachers in secondary school. If you are angry and you guys are fighting, you will now. The teacher will say, you guys face the wall and start speaking to the wall. All your anger, start saying it to the wall. Sometimes when you don't have the opportunity to vent, as a young person, you actually act your anger. But it's good that we are being able to have this interaction, which in any case, in action or action, might be the result of our intent. But I want us to wrap up, and I'll get everyone's closing statement. The most important thing is that I'm very sure that everyone that has spoken today, including Indicator that ran away, Debo, Tolu, Jolov, and Cynthia. Cynthia might not be able to say I'm voting for because of their job.
Yes,
but everybody have their own person to vote for. But one thing that is important, including everybody that is watching or listening, is that after this election, we must come together as a people. Your candidate might lose or win. It doesn't make us bad people. We need to come together as a people. I'd like to take everyone's closing statement. A lot of people are watching and listening tonight. What would you say is the way forward? For young people, there are a lot of cancel culture going out there. If you say this, they will say, you are a very
Debo has attempted to cancel me tonight. That's what I will say that.
Debo was looking.
Debo has attempted to cancel me.
Both of you tried to cancel each other. Both of you tried to cancel each other.
Even your love too wanted to cancel.
Everybody they cancel. Only me. I'm the only one that not canceling anybody today.
Everybody's sins have been forgiven. Anybody that has canceled anybody today, your sins are forgiven.
Amen.
So let us close now. I get everybody's. Yes. Let me begin with Macaroni. Where do we go from here as young people? Are we ready? If you are not ready, what should we do about this election?
I'm going to conclude by saying where we need to get to is the point where Nigerians, young Nigerians, have a level playing ground, such that they do not need to know someone like my dear brother, Jollof, before things can be better. Because I wanted to make reference to that thing he said, that he can now call if he feels something is not, rather than saying there are millions of Nigeria that do not have anybody to call. What becomes of them? So where I want all of us to focus, like you all have rightly said, we'll have discussions like this, and we will banter and assess some things and reassess some things. The way I will see things might not be the way it is, or might not be the way the other person meant it, which is fine. But like I always say, which I'm making reference back to the conversation I said I had earlier with someone that was wishing me dead. And I called him and I said, how far? Not before this make this country better, now all of us the reason. Which one can be say make Macaroni die because I say now like this I won't make things go. At the end of the day, what I want Nigerian youths, the younger generation, to look at is we should be fighting the same cause. The same cause being a better nation for you and I. God forbid that years to come, we are still having conversations. We'll still be having conversations on this fantabulous podcast, but it should not be conversations about, oh, are we voting or are we not voting? Young people need to now realize that they have the power. In Nigeria, youth can decide the elections. We have not just realized that power and we have not started to use it. I think we are beginning to see it now. And I'm hopeful for what is going to come out of this election. Let's see how it goes. But let's all know, what I always say is that politicians are united. They are united in their corruption. If politicians meet tomorrow, they know where they meet themselves. We the people, we the youth, we cannot be fighting ourselves. If we remove selfish reasons, we remove greed, we remove anything, we should know that we are all that we have. And we must come together. We must come together and say, look, this is the way to go. This is what what should be on our end or on our head. Now the future success, today's success and prosperity of Nigeria, our country. And I think if we begin to take voting seriously, if we begin to understand that we have the power to decide the type of leaders that lead us, things will be better.
Thank you so much, Mr. Macaroni. Tolu Ogunlesi.
Yes. So I think for me, the point as per going forward is, I think it's something that Cynthia said. I'm somewhat uncomfortable with this this overwhelming obsession that we all seem to have on elections, like at the expense of other things, as if, this vote, I think that we have this obsession with messiahs, the one person who is we're going to elect into Abuja, who is going to come and just, turn Nigeria into something else. And in this obsession, we are forgetting, or we are somewhat downplaying the other elements of government, the governorships, the National Assembly elections, the State House of Assembly elections, even local government elections, So I think that there's an unhealthy focus, in my view. And I can say this because I've been in government for 7 years. I've seen how how that obsession with, the person we elect into the villa is going to be the one that is going to, just magically transform Nigeria. So I think that we need to do a lot more focus on down the ballot, governors, legislators, and co. And secondly, an important point too is that what happens between elections, I think Cynthia made that point. What happens between elections is as important as what happens on election day. Look, when these elections are done in 2 weeks' time, there will be maybe 50% of the people that voted, will not have their candidate as president. Yeah. From the way it's going, there will be as much as 50%. There will be tens of millions of people who will vote, but whose candidate will not get into office. So what happens? Are those millions of people going to suddenly give up on Nigeria? Are they going to spend the next 4 years complaining? No. There is the way democracy works, the way it should work, is that all of those people, plus even the people who voted for that government, for that candidate, must now start to find ways of engaging with the systems, of engaging with the politics, of putting pressure on officials, of engaging in, and I often make the point, even when we talk about sort of like police reform, I often make the point that the most important work of police reform is not even, SARS has been disbanded. This is not those big things. It is the constant engagement that happens behind the scenes in the National Assembly, the laws that are changed, all the things that happen away from the limelight. That is what a democracy is about. Yeah. That is the power and the beauty of democracy. It is beyond just, look, people say it as if, by just casting your vote, you have done something magical. No, by casting your vote, what you have just done is you are electing one person, but that is just a part of the bigger picture. And as and for all those people whose candidate doesn't get it, democracy still allows them to have an influence on the state of things by being able to engage when National Assembly is doing public hearings, when, all those kind of things, all of those things, that we should not focus on elections and on voting and on PVC to the exclusion of all of the many other elements that make a democracy what it should be.
There won't be any Messiah, and there are no Messiahs.
There are no. Look, I can tell you, there are no messiahs anywhere.
We should prepare our minds.
I agree with that too.
There are no messiahs anywhere.
So Nigerians should not expect anybody that will just by a magic wand and all Superman and all our problems will just go away.
Yes.
Because the way we are going about this election, we are going it as if on the 26th of February, the problem of Nigeria will fly away. Mr. Jolov, your final thought.
My final thought is very simple. I am happy with the level of participation that the youths are out to display and exercise their civil responsibility. But at the same time, they should maintain the same energy and they should understand what politics is all about in reality. You don't play politics. I can use a case study of someone that lives in Delta State and he went ahead to look for greener pasture, probably in Lagos, and his polling unit is in Lagos. And you want that change. You can't make that change in Lagos. You have to go back home. You need to go back to your grassroots. You need to set up a pressure group. You need to set up what is going to develop the community. And after the election, your pressure group doesn't die. You should stand up for something.
Grow it.
You should grow it. You should expand it. And it should get to a point that your numbers can make a difference. You can negotiate with that numbers. You can tell your local government chairman, you can tell your councillor, you can tell your governor that I have this certain number of people. And if you do not do this right, we will pull out from you and we will support who is ready. That is what politics is all about. It's not an individual race. It's a collective race. And you need to start from your grassroots. Politics is local. And that is what I need to tell any youth that want to engage in politics. It is not about the elections. It is after the elections that matter. If you want a better Nigeria, and that's it. And after the election, I will be hosting macaroni in one of the nice restaurants. You know, it's still my brother.
Abuja has some of the best restaurants. Although
macaroni is free lunch.
We will disagree that
Lagos is still the best. We will still enjoy it anywhere and discuss more about politics on how we should grow.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. At the end of the day, we are the same people. When we get out of this country, if you meet in Dubai or the UK, you forget that you are.
After we come up for this studio, we go still go talk about Nigeria matter. You not get naira. Everybody wait there, they feel the pain. So now general market at the end of the day, it touch everybody. It touch everybody.
Cynthia, your final thought.
Yeah, elections are determined by those who show up, and I'm really praying and hoping that these elections, Nigerians can achieve at least 60% turnout. That would be a significant progress. Yeah, it would be a miracle. I said that's why I said I'm praying. You know, I said I'm praying because we just need to really increase our turnout. That's one. The other part is for these elections, it's beyond just showing up. It's about getting informed, because participation is more meaningful when it is informed. And what are the things we need to get informed about? The process of voting on elections day. There are introductions by the law that INEC would be piloting for the national, deploying for the national elections. Things like how the BVAS work, how the result portal work. It's important every one of us understands the importance of ensuring that a BVAS is present for accreditation and everyone is accredited. It's also important we all go on the INEC result portal, create an account now so that you can have access to your polling unit result, because these elections, one of the things we need as citizens is key vigilance over the process. We need to remain vigilant to ensure that our votes do count. The other part is for these elections, we also need to ensure that beyond getting our PVC, we know where our polling units are. INEC, by creating new polling units, we have voters that have been moved to new polling units, meaning that there's a likelihood the polling unit that is on your PVC on elections that you may have moved to a new one, which is why it's important you go on voters.inecnigeria.org, voters.inecnigeria.org to confirm your polling unit in case you've been put in a polling unit closer to your place of residents. Information is key for this election. And lastly, election is about Nigeria, it's about Nigerians. This election is beyond the political parties, it's beyond the personalities, it's even beyond the big names or whoever or whatever the candidates are campaigning about. It's about the future and the soul of this country. And for me, what would make this election successful is that we all turn up, it is peaceful, and at the end of the day, we accept the outcome and we are engaging individuals that win the election at all levels, from the president to the state assembly. It's beyond the president to get our democracy to work. It requires the collective effort of every arm of government, and we all need to take this seriously. I wish Nigeria successful elections.
Thank you so much, Cynthia Mbamalu, lawyer and rights activist. Mr. Jolov, an Atiku supporter. He exited the Tinubu camp and he jumped into the Atiku camp.
No road.
Thank you so much. And Tolu Ogunlesi is an aide to President Buhari on New Media. Thank you so much, Tolu. It's good to see you. Thank you for making our time. Mr. Macaroni, I took you out of your busy schedule. You left your shooting and everything to speak on this podcast. Thank you so much indeed, Debo. You are always a brother, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, boss.
Thank you. And everyone who is watching or listening, thank you so much. Well, there you have it. Diverse views, contrasting opinions. Of course, democracy demands a robust contest of ideas to thrive. And for a country like ours, diversity is not only needed, it defines us. Having said that, opportunities for the youth to engage in governance and participate in political and decision-making processes should not be limited to arguments, attacks, or shouting down dissenting voices. It may be a bitter pill to swallow, but choices and political tolerance are two of the most basic signposts of a democracy. As young Nigerians, we must channel the energy right now. And how? Participate, be law-abiding, be civil. There is a place for civility even in disagreement. We can agree to disagreement. Let there be a peaceful, united, and prosperous Nigeria. Let it be our common goal. Thank you, everyone, for being part of this podcast on this edition. I'm Sean Kimberly. I'll see you next week when it will be exactly 1 week to Election Day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Mike On Podcast with Seun Okimbaloi. Mike On Podcast for the independent mind.